Good day, folks, and welcome back to Bannister Hyundai and Ed's Garage. Today, a quick video about the hidden and not so hidden Easter eggs and features of the Ioniq 6 and a couple of gripes. So, basically, I've been looking over this demo vehicle that we got here, and you know, it's pretty cool. There's some things that I've learned today just by looking at it carefully, and some things that I was like, all right, well, that's kind of weird. A lot of cool stuff, a couple of singular little dumb things, to be honest. But anyway, I want to show you some of the weirder stuff that isn't really focused on, especially not in the media from Hyundai, and especially not from the average YouTuber. So let's start with the key. Yes, I hate this key. I don't like it at all. It's ugly, and it's big, and it's bulky, and it feels cheap. And the emergency key isn't even inside the fob, so you actually have to keep this with you in case the battery dies. There's the extremely cheap looking emergency key. But yeah, there is one cool aspect about this, and that is, if you haven't already noticed, it's actually the H for Hyundai, so that's kind of cool. Anyway, next thing on the key that I found a little bit bizarre was, check this out. I'm going to open up the trunk by holding the key fob button. There we go, and then the trunk opens up, right? No problem. But now, and maybe this will be corrected with an update, but watch, if I hold this button now, nothing! The trunk stays open! Come on! Alright, so I have to press this. That's just silly. But yeah, it might just be an update. Another weird thing is it already has a recall, so it's not even really on the market in Canada yet, and it's got a recall already. Thankfully, it's a really minor one. Just the IBU, I believe it is, it needs to be updated. Just a software programming update thing. Not a big deal. As is life with brand new models, right? Yeah, mine's not in yet. I'll be waiting a little bit longer still to get mine, but this, of course, is the demo, and it's the top trim, the Ultimate. So just wanted to show you some of these features. All right. Okay, neat little hidden thing. So all of the groups of pixels are divisible by 6. So you can see we got 6 pixels right there. We got 6 pixels there, 6 there, 6 there, 6 there. And then inside the light, you can also see there's a bunch more. And then all along the top of the light here, there's all these pixels along the top here as well. That's kind of neat. So yeah, pixels everywhere, but I'm not going to go crazy on the pixels, okay? There's lots of pixels. Just trust me. All right. Next little thing I noticed when looking very closely was there's obviously you got the front-facing camera right there, and there's this little lip right here. And I think what that is, I think it's actually protecting the camera from getting dirty, because this basically, you know, this is part of the front sort of aerodynamic part of the vehicle here. And when air kind of comes up and hits this, I think this is actually stopping it from kind of going over the camera, perhaps. Maybe that's what that is. It doesn't stick out very far, so I don't know, but I noticed that there and I was a little bit confused by it. All right, another cool thing, of course, is the Smart Parks. And if you guys haven't seen that before, I'll quickly do it here. So I'm just going to start the car, and then on the side of the key fob, check this out. If I hold the key button down here, there we go. Okay, I'm controlling the forward movement and the rearward movement. Actually, I could back it up as well. Oh, there we go. And she's backing up. So yeah, that's how that works. Kind of cool. All right, next little thing I want to show you is, check this out. On the mirrors, so we don't get the little camera mirrors, unfortunately. We just get these regular actual mirrors. But they do have some cool little pixel lights on there. Now, I talked about that in my last video. But check this out. On the inside of the mirror, you get these little bumps. And that's actually to create a vortex within here to kind of increase the aerodynamic efficiency of this section of the car, which is kind of cool. So just noticed that. Also, a fun one to point out, we do have the head-up display in Canada. Sorry, Americans, you don't get that down in the States there. All right, so also in North America, we don't get the Hyundai Ioniq First Edition. However, if you've seen pictures of the First Edition in Europe and Korea and stuff like that, you'll notice that they actually have black wheels. Well, here's a cool little hidden thing. These are actually identical wheels, they're just not black. So if you want to have these look the same as they do in Europe, just get these plasti dipped or, you know, whatever, and they'll be black. Pretty simple. Another interesting little thing here. So these are P0 tires from Pirelli. Really, really good tires. They're an all-season tire. But check this out. They actually are specifically designed for electric vehicles. Now, why that's important is actually because, you know, one of the most common complaints in electric vehicles is that there seems to be more road noise. Well, there really isn't more road noise. It's just there's no engine to drown out the road noise. So what they've done is they've created a tire that's very, very quiet on the road, and that's what that little icon is for right there. All right, the next little feature concerns inside the trunk. So let's pop open the trunk here, and as it's opening, you'll see the button on the outside also has the pixels there. But yeah, right here, so you've actually got a lock button that can lock the doors of the vehicle. So if you've just gone out and you're going grocery shopping, maybe you're grabbing your bags and baskets out of the trunk and you forgot to lock the doors, not a big deal. You can just lock them right from there. So that's kind of cool. Nice little implementation of that. All right, next little cool feature that I noticed. As you approach the vehicle, if it's been locked for a period of time, the handles actually pop out. Now, of course, the Ioniq 5 does that as well, but I did want to just point it out because it's kind of cool. Now, a lot of people point out the fact that this Frunk is really, really tiny, especially in Canada and North America. Basically, the reason it's so small is because there's an all-wheel drive front motor mounted right there. But, I mean, in the rear-wheel drive, why is it still so small? Well, that's because in order to make this bigger in Canada and America, it has to have a internal release mechanism. So Hyundai basically, just to save some cost, didn't bother making an entirely second, you know, frunk space size there. They just decided to keep it the same. Now, the reason that it's bigger in, like, for instance, the Tesla Model 3 is because everything in the Ioniq 6 is pushed forward. You'll notice just how short from there to there is. It's a very, very, very short front end. The legroom for the driver and the passenger, basically the footwell, extends to about this spot here. You can see it's literally right behind there. Of course, it's all reinforced and everything, but there's just not a lot of space between there and there. So what they had to do was they took the motor, which would normally be mounted this way with the converter and everything on top of it or beside it, and they flipped it up vertically, and that's why it sits underneath. It's literally right underneath there, and that's why there's just no room for a Frunk, a proper Frunk. Now, the benefit, of course, is that you can move everything forward. You can move the dash forward, you can move the front seats forward, and moving the front seats forward means that you get more legroom in the back as well. So that's essentially why it's designed the way it is, and that's why the Frunk is as small as it is. Quite honestly, I mean, how often are you actually going to use this anyway? Throw your spare charger in there or whatever, your tire mobility kit, jam that in there if you have to, but really, use the trunk. The next thing I want to show you isn't reserved to the Ioniq 6, but it is kind of reserved to just the Hyundai Motor Group of vehicles. We're going to go ahead and fire up the car here. So there we go. We just remote started it. And we're going to walk up and we're going to jump in. Now, what I'm talking about is, check this out. I don't actually have to press the start button. It just came to life. So it recognized the key is in the car and just fired up. I didn't have to press the start button again. So yeah, cool thing, once you remote start the vehicle, you don't have to start it a second time. That's essentially what I find. Here's kind of a cool one. Down here, you'll notice we have a 120 volt power outlet. That is the vehicle to load power outlet on the inside of the vehicle. That's able to provide 120 volts at 16 amp. That's 1920 watts, I believe it is. But yeah, just over 1900 watts. Call it 1800 watts because obviously that port is going to fluctuate a little bit around the 120 mark. But that is a lot of power, guys. That'll run a space heater. That'll run a refrigerator. That will run a small washing machine. Like that's a lot of energy. To give you an idea of how much energy that is, every single house outlet that you have in your home is, well, not every single one, but most of them are going to be on a 15 amp breaker. So that port is just as powerful as any socket in your house. What's really cool about that system, though, is check this out. If I go to the EV screen and then to electricity use settings, I can actually change where the vehicle will shut off that vehicle to load connection. So that 120 volt power adapter, if I don't want the vehicle's battery to get below 40%, I just set this here and then basically that plug just shuts off. and it's a lot of power. It is so powerful, in fact, that if you were to use the full power of that outlet, all 1800 watts, which is extremely unlikely, mind you, but if you were, and this battery was fully charged, it would take 42 hours to drain the entire battery. Now, obviously, you know, you can only go down to 20%, so it's not going to let you go all the way down to zero, but if it could, it would be 42 hours worth. Now, to give you an idea, though, 1800 watts consistently is extremely unlikely on, you know, most use cases. So you could probably use this vehicle's vehicle to load adapter for like a week if you're camping or something like that. If you have the, you know, if you got like a cooler plugged into the vehicle to load adapter, or that plug-in down there. By the way, the vehicle to load adapter that normally would plug into the charge port, unfortunately, Hyundai doesn't provide that with the vehicle. You have to buy that separately. It's about $300 or so. Depends on your market, but yeah, that's too bad. All right, I don't know if you saw the message there, but it said brake disc cleaning on. What that is actually, what'll happen is after you're driving for a while and you know, you've been using a lot of regenerative braking, the brake rotors tend to get corroded because they're not being used. So Hyundai's designed a system whereby after a certain period of time, it'll just disable regeneration completely and allow the vehicle to use the friction brakes for a short period of time in order to clean them off. Pretty smart, actually, and yeah, it's something actually that started on the Ioniq 5, and we'll see that in future EVs from Hyundai, including, of course, the Ioniq 6 and 7, and probably the new Kona as well. All right, so here's a neat one. Let's go into Setup, and then Vehicle, and Active Sound Design. So check this out. I got largest change, moderate change, smallest change, provided driving sounds for EVs. Please select the volume. Okay, interesting. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my microphone off, and I'm going to put it on my leg because my leg is right beside the speaker. How weird is that? I was going to say cool, but it's a little weird, to be honest. I don't think I would use the active sound design. Let's see what else this car's got. All right, so one thing that's really cool, of course, is the ambient lighting. Now, I want to show you something real quick here. If I go into the setup and the lights and then ambient light, we got to go into color. And what you'll notice is that if it's scrolled all the way up, you'll have all these individual colors, right? And the thing is, if it's on one of these, then it's going to be basically the same color top and bottom. So you can see along the strip right here, it's that color. And then down here behind the translucent panel, it's also going to be, you know, that color as well. But if we scroll down, you got set custom dual color, and now you can actually choose, come on, set custom color, there we go. Now you can actually choose two totally different colors if you want. And what it's going to do, here, let's change that so you can see here. Now it's actually going to have the lighter color at the top, so up here, and then it's going to have the other color, not necessarily lighter, but whatever color you want, it's going to have it on the bottom here now. So you can't really see it because it's quite bright out, but there we got some red, and up here we got some orange. So basically you can choose whatever colors top and bottom you want, but you have to go into the set custom dual color, and that basically, if you swipe down right here. Now you can also link it to the drive mode so that it just changes automatically. But yeah, why would you want to do that? You can also even sync it with the speed, so it adjusts the brightness. So the faster you drive, the brighter it gets. How interesting. All right, next I want to show you the top-down camera as well as the parking sensor. So I've currently got it in reverse. You can see that the parking sensors actually show all the way around the car because, of course, there's sensors on the sides, sensors on the back, sensors on the front, and I don't know if you noticed, but it actually had a collision warning come up, and the reason for that is because it's picking up the cars that are going by on the street behind us. So this one does have the autonomous braking in reverse, so that's kind of neat. But let's go back to this screen for a second here because I want to show you this. This is a neat little hidden feature. You tap this button right here on the backup camera screen and boom, you have a 360 camera view of the vehicle. Now it doesn't actually have the correct color of the vehicle, but yeah, whatever. It's still pretty cool. But the really neat thing is, watch what happens if I turn the steering wheel. It actually shows on the little car on the screen, the steering wheel turning, or the wheels turning. And if I start to move, oh, let's get it back on that screen. It'll even rotate the wheels. That, by the way, was the cross traffic alert system. All right, next thing I want to show you is the little 4 dots on the steering wheel. Now, if you don't already know, those are actually representative of the letter H in Morse code. Now, don't worry, they're not actually flashing in real life. They're on solid. But check this out. If I put the car into reverse, the lights turn to red. Okay, pretty neat. And if I'm in drive and I change the drive mode, check it out. There we go. It's in blue now because it's in normal. Press it again. Now it's red because it kind of went red for a second to indicate that it was in sport. And then eco mode, of course, is green. Now, if I hold the button down, that puts it into snow mode, and that gives me another little color. What was that? Purple or something? Let's try that again. Ah, that doesn't really change the color. Okay. Yeah, so it kind of changes color and changes what it's doing based on what's actually happening with the car. Now, if you're charging the battery, this will actually be a battery level indicator. So that's pretty neat as well. Another thing I noticed in this screen here is, I'm going to turn it off and turn it back on and see if it comes up. But basically what it does, yeah, so it'll actually show every single seat in the vehicle, with the exception of the driver's seat, of course, whether or not they're wearing their seatbelt. Pretty neat, eh? So right on the instrument cluster, it has a seatbelt reminder for the other seats. You can make sure your kids are wearing the seatbelts. Right, so no fancy features video would be complete without showing you blind view monitor. Check this out. So you put the turn signal on, shows you the view down that side of the vehicle. Super, super cool. Now, that's not new for Hyundai. Of course, that existed in the Palisade, the Santa Fe, the Ioniq 5, etc. But yeah, just wanted to quickly show you that on there. Another neat feature is in the top of the screen, you'll see we've got the maximum speed limit on the street that we're on. Of course, that's not going to show anything right now. But what's cool is it also puts it in the head-up display. So I'm going to zoom in here, see if you can see it. Again, don't mind the flickering. It doesn't actually do that in real life. But there you can now see you got the speed limit in the top right corner there. You got the speed that you're currently going. You've got your adaptive cruise control, distance and such. And of course, the highway drive assist information will come up on that head-up display as well. And if you're navigating, it'll even put the turn-by-turn directions there. So let's try a navigation here real quick. Find the nearest Canadian Tire.
6 results found.
All right.
Would you like guidance to this location?
Yes. Let's see what it does with the head-up display here.
The route guidance will start
Cool.
now.
So I don't know if you can see that, but it's got a little arrow saying that I need to head in the sort of left direction there. Sorry, I'm trying to hold the camera as steady as I can, but I really need to zoom in order to see this. And I know it's a bit blurry because I can't actually get the camera to focus in on it. But you get the idea. So it puts the turn-by-turn directions up there, puts our speed limit, even radio information. And then if you don't want to look at that, of course, you can even put your turn-by-turn directions on the center screen here on this particular image screen right here. There we go. So I'm doing that, of course, with the buttons on the steering wheel here. All right, this really cool thing that I found here, I just want to show you. This is a neat feature. So on this vehicle, of course, you have voice recognition. Check this out. Watch through the rear window there. Open the trunk.
Opening the trunk.
That is so cool. And it can even do this. Check this out. I'm going to open this window, and I'm going to stick this out the window. Open the charging port.
Opening the charging port door.
That is so cool. All right, what else can it do? Can it close them? Let's try that. Close the trunk.
Feature is not supported.
Can't close it. Okay. Close the charging door.
Closing the charging port door.
Oh, okay, so it can do that. And yep, there it is. It's closed. Close the trunk. Let's try one more time.
Feature is not supported.
That's weird, eh? I can't close the trunk from the key fob or from the voice recognition. I have to actually get it. Oh, you know what? I could probably hit this button. Yes, I can hit this button right here. Hold that down. And yeah, there. Nope, that didn't work. Do I have to continue to hold it? Oh, I do. Check that out. So I got to continue to hold the button down. That's interesting. So my guess is that's safety related thing. So it probably does that in case somebody's back there, you know, putting something in the trunk or whatever, just to be on the safe side. It's making you hold that button down completely for the trunk to close. And it's not letting you do it from the key fob or from the voice recognition. That's too bad. I mean, I guess it makes sense if it's a safety feature, but yeah, whatever. All right, just two more things and I promise I'll stop. All right, so check this out. This right here is a group of pixels. I can't show you them lighting up, but basically they will all turn on in a nice bright amber color when your phone is charging. So one of the things that I guess Hyundai and, you know, every single salesperson under the sun noticed was that when you were trying to show a customer how their phone would charge on the wireless charging pad, it was never super easy to see that happening, especially when the icon on the screen was hidden by, you know, a piece of body or something, or interior plastic by the vehicle or whatnot. But now when you put a phone on there, that entire thing lights up. It's just super easy to tell. And then the last thing, I know this is kind of funny and weird and silly, but I didn't say I was going to talk about all the pixels, but I got to point this out. The dead pedal is just a huge panel full of pixels. All right, I'm going to end the video there, guys. I hope that you all learned something new by this video, and if you did, please don't forget to hit like and subscribe. If there's something I missed that you think is definitely a feature worth talking about, by all means, comment below. I know that I've missed some. I've gone over the whole vehicle with a fine-tooth comb already in my full review video, so please don't forget to check that out if you haven't already. I'll put it in the link below. And I've also gone over a full training at Hyundai headquarters in Vancouver, Canada. So if you haven't seen that video, please check that out in the link below as well. Thank you so much for watching this, guys, and have a wonderful day. And until next time, take care.